Peace and peace and peace. Hold up. Peace and blessing, Manikatu. Kina, Kakona, peace and blessing. Peace to everyone. Bienvenido, Maboika. My sisters, Ituno and Kina, my Atiaono, my brothers, my Zamal. Yasa. How's everyone doing? So, just wanted to continue on with the solar plexus and the idea of purification. But before I start, there was a very interesting topic and conversation that I was watching last night. I even tried to call in, but for some reason, I wasn't able to call in. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, I guess it's just a draw of the luck. You know, when you get in. I got in a couple of times. I wanted to ask a question. The sister, Napasha Da, also with Sonetta Studios TV. And the question was about consciousness. You know, saying what is consciousness? What is metaphysics? So I wanted to really quickly give you my perspective. Definitions, because when you have conversations with anybody about God or consciousness or metaphysics, you first have to determine what definitions are they using. Are they using the standard English type of definitions, or is this is their own definition, their perspective? So here where awareness goes, it's like saying where consciousness, when the body is conscious, it's aware. And I'm gonna look it up in the dictionary here as we going on and bring it up. And so consciousness, aware is awareness, and that's where you put that consciousness, that awareness, energy flows. It follows that way, right? Because those are the neurons in your brain system, sympathetic nervous system in your brain system. Have these neurons, synapses and neurons that lights up, pop. That's consciousness. That's energy. That's a ball of light. Here we go. Let's see. Here. So awareness is consciousness. It's like a glowing ball of light, right? And then you have the mind. So any space, the vast spaces, it's a reservoir, the reservoir of thoughts, experience, all that reservoir of feelings. That reservoir is what we call the mind, right? And it has many different areas. So that's where you put your consciousness or your concentration, your awareness at a particular area. But this is what I wanted to say about consciousness. There's also a word, a concept that is called conscientious. And I feel that's the problem when I listen to a lot of woke people, conscious people, is it possibly that they're getting the two definition mixed up? Is there a difference between consciousness and conscientiousness? Conscientious and conscious. Is there a difference? Is that a possibility that it is being mixed up? Well, let's see. Because I wanted to, look up the definitions, And when looking up the definitions, you learn of things. Because remember, we're speaking in English language. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a European language, and it has many definitions and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So let me share the screen right here for y'all. Share screen. I'm here. Okay. Share. As you can see right here. Let me bring it up. Let me get rid of this. Oh no, let me keep that there. Here. Oh, I can't. Here we go. Conscientious is also an adjective. It's of a person wishing to do what is right, especially to do one's work or duty well and thoroughly. diligent, right? Painstaking. Those are synonyms, right? Relating to a person's conscience. Conscience is the act does not. Okay, let me keep going to see if you get it. So the origin of that word is for consensio, consensia, and you see the word science there. You know the word science in that word right there. Conscientious is the personality trait of being careful and diligent. So you have people that are woke and they become conscious, conscientious. That means now they're being careful and diligent. They are following a prescribed set of duties, right? They're attentive now. They're thorough, meticulous. They're careful. They're searching. That's conscientious. Now look at the difference between that, right? Let's look at the difference between that and what you call it. Let's look at the difference of that and the word conscious. Let's go back here. So you see the first definition. Let me see. Consciousness. You see the spelling of the words are different. And if you can see here, let me get that. The spelling of it is different, right? And this it's the state of being awake or aware of one's surrounding. You see, when one deals with duty, being careful, and a prescribed way of thought pattern, that's conscientious. And then when one is just simply aware, right? Perspective, aware, perception of something by a person, aware, you know what I'm saying? That's consciousness. And then the subconscious is a submerged consciousness. It's another awareness, and that's what you're going to segue into the solar plexus. Also at the solar plexus, the subconscious and the subconscientious. The subconscientious, those duties, those habits that you form that form your paradigm. Right? And there's a submerged consciousness because in that solar plexus, that brain, that abdominal brain, that gut, you get feelings and you get and you do things according to harnessing the power of that gut through your breath work and that gut deeply into the stomach, that gut. And that's a submerged consciousness, what they call the subconsciousness. It's still awake, it's like more like sleepwalking. You can wake it up, oh sure. That's the science behind waking up the solar plexus. And that's the science behind the serpent that rises up, right? What they call kundalini, but we're not gonna go there with that. But anyway, so could it be that there is we're not defining these words properly, and could it be that it's a little what do you call it? Excuse me a second. Could it be that it gets confusing and it's a little misleading? Just asking. It's a little misleading. It's a little, it's not undefined. You're not making, and could it be that you got the two mixed up, consciousness and conscientiousness? It just seems through the conversation that's being had that it can happen. Excuse me a second. Okay. For those who can subscribe to my Spotify, you'll get the audio of this conversations that we're having here right now. I'm recording it onto my my Spotify. Let me drink some water. Jesus. So another word that also gets mixed up, or is not defined accurately by using the English language and by using linguistics definitions, is the word physics and metaphysics. Metaphysics is another branch, and some call it pseudoscience, some call it fake, whatever. They're not really grasping the definition of what metaphysics is, as opposed to physics. Now, physics is the physicality of thing is something that is tangible. You can hold it in your hand, or you see it by your optic. It is visible. Physics deal with physicality, the visual, the tangible things that are tangible. You can hold it in your hand, you can feel it, right? Metaphysics is that which subsists. It's not tangible, it's intangible. Like, for instance, your mind. Even though it's your brain will be the physics part, but the mind, the reasoning, that's metaphysics. Also in metaphysics is ideas. The concept of that you actually can walk into a room, but you can't use the concept of in, and it's not tangible. So the ideas that you have are subsisting. There's a difference between something that exists, existence, and subsistence. Submerge existence again. And that's our ideas. Ideas and concepts. That becomes, and the reason why they termed it metaphysics, that was the Greeks, because when they got into the scrolls in ancient Kemet and Alexandria, and they seen that there's certain sections of the scroll deal with physics, the mechanic of things, tangible things. Then they noticed that some of the other scrolls dealt with stuff that are not tangible, that are ideas and concepts that are not tangible. So when they started having conversations about these ideas and these thoughts that they were reading in the scroll, that's what birthed philosophy. Philosophy are conversations on principles and theories and stuff, right? Conversations. That's philosophy. So the metaphysics, they labeled it, that's the birth of philosophy, is when they started to have conversations about ideas and concepts that are not, that they were, that the Kemetics were showing a distinct between something that's physical, which is the physicality, the part of you, the submerged consciousness, as opposed to your conscious, your awareness that is mental. Everything is really mental, right? But to have the ideas and the concept of reaching beyond transcendence, that's metaphysics. So the balance between both, celestial and terrestrial, physics, metaphysics, consciousness and conscientious. So I think what I'm trying to get at is that I like to have some conversations with some, especially some formats. But I'm a little careful because, again, it's so paradoxical reason is so important. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not fault. It's not their fault. It's just they're creating. It's not their fault, but the idea is that in this civilization, because of the language, the faulty reasoning comes into play, and that's what gives a lot of logical fallacies, which is the idea, bad analogies, which is, misplacing consciousness with conscientiousness. You know what I'm saying? There's, the definition is all twisted. So, with this segue into the physical, your physical body, your vitality, and all that is right here in your gut. It's the brain, what they call the abdominal brain. Let me bring up something here. There's a great, great, great book on this. And I want to bring it up. Let me see. Yeah, there it goes. I wonder, can you see that? No, you can't see that because I have to share that, right? Let me also share. Oh, stop screen. Let me share. Yeah. I got two of them open. Let's do this one here. See how this one. Okay. If you can see, this is. Let me see. This is a great book by Theron Q. Dumont, and it's called The Solar Plexus of the Abdominal Brain. It breaks a lot down, man, a lot. And it mentions the four brains, the emotional center, the vitality and health is here. It shows you even how to exercise the awakening the solar plexus and how to use the solar plexus and breathing exercise. This is a great book, man. This is one of the books that I read at NYU, and I also read at SLR University. And if you go on here, it tells you about the different brain. But now you got the gut brain, and now the gut, this solar plexus has gray matter and white matter filaments that reaches out like vines, will come out. They call it solars because it comes out and it reaches, it reaches out like the sun, the rays of the sun in directions like that, and it's centralized in the gut. And these vines wrap around the heart because it's the neurons traveling, and it gives a heart light and energy for it to start pumping. You see, this is the life force. If you read on here, the name solar was bestowed upon it by reason of its central position and the fact that its filaments extend in all directions to the important abdominal organs. It's like the rays of the sun. The fact that it's recognized as being the powerhouse, the great reservoir of life force, just as the sun is the great powerhouse and reservoir of material energy of our solar system. So this is the sun inside of us. That's why they call it the solar. This energy, this heat. And remember we spoke about heat and fire, what it does. Heat and fire purifies. This is, in Kemetic science, this is the area, the natural nature, the ability that we have to purification, to purify our environment. Remember, by setting those boundaries, you know what I'm saying? Those morals and ethics and those boundaries, you set that, you purify your environment like that. Heat purifies food, water, the heat, you know what I'm saying? You purify your thoughts by putting the consciousness in there and revving that up as a heat. Tai Chi, bringing in the heat, So the solar plexus is that air, is that gut, is that heat. It's the powerhouse. It's what wraps around the heart and sends neurons to the heart. And the heart processes that because the heart is the axis, right? And that's where you get your abundance. And then it goes up to the brain, the pineal gland, and the brain. You know what I'm saying? The whole brain, the 3 sections of the brain. They're actually finding more sections of the brain, but the most common one that we know, as you can read on, the most common ones we know is here. The cerebrum, which is the higher, the front portion, right? You got the cerebellum, right? And then you got the amdula oblongata, which is in the back of the neck, that area in the back of the neck, and extends out to the lungs and stuff. That's breathing. And then, of course, you have, of course, you have the solar plexus. Okay? Those are the parts. And it speaks about how the solar plexus is the seat of the emotional nature of man. And the reason why solar is energy, and energy in motion is emotion. Also, ego, energy on the go, 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 without having a specific boundaries, without having a specific focus. It's just on the go. Ego, egotistic, on the go, go, go. Then you got emotion, right? Ecology, the energy in what? In the environment. So you can break it down like that with the E, meaning for the energy, right? So here in the solar plexus, you're emotional because it's where your ego and your self-esteem, again, linguistically, esteem, steam. You get steam from heat, fire, heat. And so that's the solar plexus. You know what I'm saying? And that's, in order to revel that up, again, you have to have boundaries. Set your personal healthy boundaries around you. You know what I'm saying? And then the perfect segue into morals and ethics, and I want to bring that up. So, but remember that in this is your willpower, and it could be blocked by shame, because shame is the shadow part. You know what I'm saying? And so you're gonna get organizations or fraternities, organizations that deals with amplifying shame. If anybody ever read about the skulls and bones and all these different Masonic school of thought, you know, I went through the Masonic Freemasonry, through the Prince Hall, you know, Nuwapian Freemasonry. You notice that even when you read about the skulls and bones, there are rituals that amplify fear, guilt, shame, grief, lies, illusion, ego type. All of this is amplified in the rituals. It's showing you something about the shadow self, because there's organization that amplify the shadow self. They do that in movies. They do that in music, the lyrics. This is a practice in humanity with the shadow self, the black magic, working the shadows, what Tahuti or Thoth spoke about in the Emerald Tablets. Those that manipulate the shadows. And the shadow is just being cast by the light. So when you cast a light of willpower, it casts a shadow of shame. If you don't create boundaries around you and you are open target, right? Here comes the shame. Shame on you. You're being shamed. That's why it's important for our youth to learn the martial arts, especially being brought up in New York City. What happened? Especially in I don't know what's going on here. Huh? I don't know. I'm getting some interference here. I wonder why. Well, anyway, nobody's getting on here. I don't know what's going on. I don't think that. I'm wondering if this is working. Let me check. So, again, if you just give me 1 second here, yeah. Let me see. Okay. That's not one, two. Hold on a second. Testing 1, 2. Testing. My audio is not working. Oh, yes, it is. Sorry, I had to make sure that my audio is working properly. Well, where was I? Okay. So it's so important at this power that we have. This, I think that I got to check my sound. I hope everybody's hearing this. It sounds good. Anyway, so it's important for in this natural ability that we have to harness that, to be taught. A lot of ways, a lot of times, the martial arts, yoga, Tai Chi. I do Tai Chi in the morning. King Kong, was it? Anyway, the martial arts, karate, jiu-jitsu, teaches you how to use boundaries, right? How to defend yourself and to harness that fire within your solar plexus. That's the whole key. So that you can limit the amount of shame by purifying your thoughts. That's why Bruce Lee was very powerful when he revealing a lot of the inner teachings that spoke about this. You know? And if you're growing up in New York City, you'll know about the whole, you're coming out to the street in the stoop, and always, there's always somebody in the neighborhood, in the block, or a group of guys. Next thing you know, they want to have words with you, and they want to throw the fist up with you, or they want to, you know what I'm saying? They want to shame you because you're showing strong will. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, my mic became so loud. I'm hoping that I don't know. Can everybody hear me now, or did they hear me in the beginning? I'm gonna have to. So that's the whole awareness of the particular power that we have of purification, which is also being linked up with the willpower. There's willpower, and then the shadow self being shame. And this is your will. Right here. And remember, like I said, that the when these neurons, these the solar plexus and the matter that it had, the gray matter and the white matter, that it extends itself and it wraps around the heart, and it deals in under the vagus nerves up to the brain. So you got neurons, you got the gut brain that that harnesses, develops and harnesses feelings. It's as a submerged consciousness there. So it's aware of the subconscious of life, what we call a submerged consciousness in life. The sleeping serpent again. The serpent in the bag that when you open the light, it wakes up and you gotta tap it and it'll come up out of the bag and then it'll follow the tones. That's snake charming. You've seen that in those Alibaba movies and stuff like that. That's a real practice they do in India and some places in the Middle East and in ancient Kemet. They were able to, I'm saying, I'm reading a good book about that, the Cadus and the serpent being representative as healing in ancient Kemet, all the way from ancient Kemet, all the way to Babylonia, on and on and on. The symbology was there of the serpent. And it deals with, again, the vitality, your power, your vitality, your powerhouse is there in the gut, in natural nature. So this is a very
Bluetooth disconnected.
What? Bluetooth connected. I never had no Bluetooth. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I am going to have to stop this transmission, go back and come back. No, let me keep going. Anyway, so, setting those boundaries and the purification, right? Right? Setting the boundaries and the purification. Uh, and then, when you say, how you set these boundaries? Well, you have what you call morals and ethics, right? So example of moral standards, I'm saying morality. You're setting your boundaries with moralities and ethics. That's why sometimes church is very strong and following behind certain schools of thought because they teach this. There's certain morals and moralities that we have to carry, right? Is there really a standard moral code in society these days? Yes. While most people follow society laws, they also abide by certain social morals, which are governed by morals. While morals tend to be driven by personal beliefs and value, there are certainly some common morals that most people agreed on. And this is how you set your boundaries with morals and ethics. One of them is always tell the truth, right? Find out the truth. Put the pieces of puzzles together, right? Do not destroy property. That's morals. Don't destroy property. Don't lit it. Don't be throwing. I be walking with people like in New York, and I hate it when they used to throw garbage on the streets and stuff. I'd be like, yo, there's a garbage can over there in the corner, man. Why don't you just put it there? But you run into problems too, because people don't want to be told what to do, but that they're lacking morals. And then later on, I found out, as you can read, how being tolerant of other people's differences is important. But you have to set your boundaries. Your morals and ethics sets those boundaries. You got to have courage, right? Keep your promises. Do not cheat. Treat others as you want to be treated. And a lot of this is biblical too, because this has been passed on. These are the morals and the ethics that are embedded within church, or should be. Now a lot of churches I changed that. Do not judge and be dependable. Always leaning on somebody, leeching on somebody. That's not morals. That's not ethical. You create problems like that. Be forgiving also. Have integrity. Take responsibility for your actions. Have patience. Be loyal. Have respect for yourself and others. Be tolerant of differences. Seek justice, have humility, and be generous. And there are so many more. The 10 Commandments are based on certain morals and ethics that are given to that school of thought, right? Like, do not have any gods before me. Do not make yourself a graven image. Do not take the name Lord again. These are what are the basis of a society founded on Judeo-Christianity principles. And a lot of these principles, 10th Commandments became, again, what they said, has been embedded into general society, you know? What's going on? So, yeah, we're, man, I didn't share this. I'm sorry, yo. I thought I was sharing it. Let me try again. Let me let you know what I was reading from. Oh, no, wrong one. Just give me 1 second, yo. Yeah, okay. I think that I'm here, right? Oh, where am I? I don't know what's this. Okay, I gotta do this again. Share screen. Sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to get this right for y'all. Here you go. Right, you see that? Yeah, you see. So these are the examples. Morals are formed out of a person's values. Values are foundation of a person's ability to judge between right and wrong. Also to set boundaries. Now, morals build on this to form specific context-driven rules that govern a person's behavior. They form from a person's life experience and are subject to opinions. But these are boundaries also. Then I mentioned it, your boundaries. When you want to rever up some, isolate yourself and just esteem, your self-esteem, you know, you know. And again, so you can see, always tell the truth, do not destroy property, and so on and so on. And these are, and then also how the Ten Commandments are in the society founded on Judeo-Christian principles, uses that because those are setting boundaries so as to create that energy, that purification, that energy within, you know, it's a natural gift that we have, a natural ability, and that's purification. When you set those boundaries with your morals and ethics, you, it's like you pressurizing yourself, you're isolating yourself, and that's what purification is all about. Do I have it? Ooh, let me see. No, that's boundaries. Yeah, purify. When you purify something, you make pure, you free it from the basis of pollutes and adulteries and contaminates, right? You have to isolate it and purify it. That's the power we have. Any toxic behavior, we're able to set those boundaries and morals, right? Our morals and ethics, right? And combat those toxic behaviors. But you have the power to purify your environment, purify your thoughts and everything by isolating that, but setting those boundaries and isolating it, purifying, taking all those contaminants out of your life. Yeah. Wow, this is crazy. I think I'm gonna when something is free from anything of a different, inferior, or contaminating kind, free from extraneous matter. You know what I'm saying? These are definitions of these words that are very important. Um, so, you know, getting back to, you know, to what I was saying is that that's a way to set your boundaries by harnessing and by learning about morals and ethics and keeping up with that. You know what I'm saying? Because then you set your ways, your boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And then that helps purify your environment, your toxic. Also, when it comes to food, you know what I'm saying? What you intake, so people taking so much junk food and so much, you know what I'm saying? And you have to, in order for to purify that and want to take in the pure elements and stuff, right? For the renewal process, you have to set your boundaries. I'm not gonna, in this household, like in my house, we don't cook pork. We don't eat it. We don't consume it at a mass amount. If I'm going to eat a little pork, I'm going to go out in a family house or somewhere where I know how they cooked it and whatever, and just for being gracious. You know what I'm saying? But I don't consume pork. And so in my house, and my children was raised like that since I was 23. I mean, with my mate, my ex-mate. And we didn't, I set the boundaries in the house. So we didn't eat certain foods, and we try to stay as much as natural as we can. When we got away from that, the impurities in our body, that's when we wound up getting um, medical problems. So I learned my lesson. You know. And so, the solar plexus, the heat, solar heat, right? Steam, esteem, heat, here, solar, the will. It's how you set your boundaries, and it's the purification, that part of nature that we have, natural nature, that deals with purification. You know? So we've spoken about seeding and grounding, right? And we spoke about renewal, right? And we spoke about transmutation. Now we're concluding about purification. There's so much more that we can go into, but for now, that's where we at, right? For now, that's where we at. Let me see. I wanted to bring something else. So again, remember that. Let me see. Yeah. We're going to just leave it there. Yeah. So next time we'll speak about neurons and how they're saying that the entire universe may be a neural network. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the internet, neural network. And remember, when we start speaking about the other powers we have to go transcend beyond star power, we'll speak more in depth about those systems and how they're correlate, related, you know what I'm saying, with how humanity acts and nature acts. That system of divines reaching out, connecting. Excuse me one second. Damn, all this stuff coming up. But I'm going to conclude this for now. Into we could speak more in depth about it. Excuse me. Man, I detox all this stuff that's coming up. I don't know. Something in the air. But I got, this certain thought, I analyze my environment around me. Because remember, wherever you put your conscious and awareness, everything is in the mind, mental, where you put your awareness at, right? Your energy is going to flow there, and then it lights up, and you're going to do what they call reason. So you're going to, collect your data, then you're going to stand to reason it, and then you're going to see when it's beneficial. You can use it to benefit you, and your environment and your family, and tribes. And this is a study. This is a study on our natural nature abilities that we have. It's healing work too, because it helps. It's helping me heal, right? And I see it healing communities. I see it healing people every day. And then I look at people and say, wow, you really took and made an effort to heal. How did it come about? And depending, and according to the conversation, you get to see, those are gifts that you found, jewels in natural nature. You're getting back in tune. So you on your way to your enlightenment paths. You're connecting with the source of it all, the all. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the all, and the all is in me. You know what I'm saying? Out, expanding on nature, natur, nut, natur, natar. You know what I'm saying? So you're connecting to that, in light. Everything around your environment, you're creating a conducive environment, peaceful. Again, you feel safe and secure when you set your boundaries, right? Your fence around you, and you guard it. You know what I'm saying? And anything coming in that is not, that is extraneous material, or anything that's fine, you purify, you eliminate it. And we're going to speak about it. And a lot of it is done through your morals and ethics. What morals and ethics you have? What tools do you have to revel up this heat? You know what I'm saying? And when you study martial art, it teaches you a lot about morals and ethics. That's part of training when it comes to martial arts. You know, the Shaolin temples and all these different schools of thoughts when it comes to the martial arts. There's, morals and ethics, things to do and things not to do, how to behave. You know what I'm saying? So it's important. That deals a lot with the ability we have to purify ourselves. Purification here is where it happens. And then that helps us feel safe and secure right here in the will. So there's much more. So thank you very much, everyone, those who were able to hang in there. Come on. I'm going to check out my audio in a bit. So I'm going to end it here and check out my audio. If it didn't come on to later because there's little problems that I might have had here, then I want you to know that I will come back and revisit what I said. You know what I'm saying? Because I did record that on my podcast on Spotify. So I can listen to it and take notes and know that this is what was missing from this particular transmission. I thank you, everyone. Hahum in thanks, Hahum in Taino, Tawud, Tawuhat, Tawuhat, Tawud, in Sabian, Metaneta, Tawud, and I like to say, to the next time, peace and blessing. Oh, listen, I thank you all. Another one. We'll keep at it. Peace.